Welcome back as we have vision there of Matthew Mladen making his way up onto the grid for the last race in the 1995 Australian Championship for motorcycles and sidecars. Let's have a look at the grid. Now, Sean Giles is A-OK after the accident in the first Superbike race. Unfortunately, his motorcycle is not so well, and he is a non-starter. So Matthew Mladen, that position on the grid will not be replaced. Matthew Mladen essentially inherits pole position. Let's have a look at the start lineup. Again, a good field, Ken, but the conditions have changed a bit.
Great start from Benny Archibald on row 2. Unfortunately, a retirement in race 1, but they funnel down into turn 1. Mladen again, very determined. He's got the whole shot. He's got the lead, but tucking in behind Kirk McCarthy round the outside on the Winfield Honda. These two, the championship's decided, but there are some egos at stake.
There certainly are. Now, it's been drizzling just a little bit, so the track is not 100%. In fact, the official report is that it's drizzle and the track is getting wet. A little bit of humour there from the timekeepers here at Phillip Island. Well, the field charge on down underneath the GIO bridge here, and you can see that again, Matthew Mladen, he is a fast starter. Oh, have a look at this, bike 69's in trouble. Benny Archibald, simply too much weight transfer to the front and has locked the rear going back. He is there, and gee, he won't be happy with that. He's had a brilliant season, has young Archibald. You can see here that the Ducati of Jason McEwen settling in. Oh, let's have a look at it on the Shell replay. Gee, Benny Archibald did a big job here. Had the presence of mind even to look beside him to see if he was going to put anyone else into trouble. And that's exactly how it went for him. No one else got into trouble. He's back on the track and A-OK. Well, here is Matthew Mladen working the bike as they come down out of Lukey into the right-hander. And Ken, it seems to me that Matthew Mladen, when he's in front, is unstoppable.
That's been the case in the last 6 races in the Shell Series for this year. He's won 4 of them. He was a retirement in race 1 earlier today at Phillip Island, but he's back on the pace. He's opened up a handy gap to McCarthy. McCarthy, that time over Lukey Heights, also out of shape, so the track does seem to be a little damp, perhaps a bit slick offline. These guys will be taking it easy. They will have started with tyre warmers. We're looking at Marty Craggle just ahead of Jason McEwen on the second of the Ducati dealer team 955s. McEwen up the inside of Craggle, disregarding the fact that there might be some damp patches there, but Mladen disappearing into the distance. He will have had the tyre warmers on. He will have felt the circuit on those first couple of laps, the warm-up lap, the opening lap to this race. McCarthy, though, holding second, desperately trying to keep in touch. McEwen, the man on the charge. All these riders, it's the last race for 1995. They'll be wanting to go out with a win.
And making sure that they've got themselves a contract for 1996. Oh, McEwen up and out of the seat as Kirk McCarthy monos the Honda. Let's have a look at this move from Jason McEwen on the Shell replay. Very, very forceful. Up the inside of Martin Craggle, and Jason McEwen, probably one of the fitter riders out there. He really is strong and trains virtually daily. He's a professional road racer and he takes it very seriously.
As we look at Martin Craggle, winner of the first heat here today, he'll be looking to keep in touch with these guys. He's right behind Kirk McCarthy, looking for the slipstream down the straight. We know the Honda's one of the fastest bikes out there. Craggle's bike developed in Sydney by Peter Doyle and the close-knit Zurich Kawasaki team. It's a credit to the team that they've been able to run at the top of Australian superbike racing for the last 5 or 6 years. McEwen on the Ducati, also fettled in Sydney by the Fraser Motorcycle Squad, and Kirk McCarthy on the Winfield Honda comes out of a small workshop in Melbourne. The Winfield team having won the last 2 Australian Superbike Championships with Troy Corser and Anthony Gobert. McCarthy having wrapped up the 95 series. McEwen looking to cement his ride with the Ducati team for next year.
Now, I wonder what's wrong with McEwen. I just saw him there. He was jumping up and down on the motorcycle, having a look behind. I'm just wondering whether there's some sort of a problem with the machine. That's McCarthy on screen. I wonder what goes through the mind of the new champion when he still has 1 race to ride. As you can see there, Marty Craggle not able to come up with the pace that he had in the first race. That is Matthew Mladen, and boy, hasn't he had an up and down season. But he's pretty cocky there, has a bit of a look behind. He's a very confident rider, and he looks so strong on a motorcycle. When he's sitting on a motorcycle, he owns the thing. Oh, there's Jason McEwen off to the side. Problems for him. Let's just have a look here on the Shell replay one more time. Doesn't that look absolutely fantastic? A superbike rider doing his thing at Phillip Island, and the Zurich Team Kawasaki machine is fast, and it is so well built. They have so few problems. Very rarely do you see a DNF from this particular team. Well, that is Matthew Mladen. One more time, this guy is just so fast as he heads around onto the straight to reel off another lap here at Phillip Island. And you know, one thing about this team is that they all seem to just gel so well as a team. Now, what's that? It looks to me as if Matthew Mladen has lost the visor off his helmet. Have a look here as he comes down the straight. He is hiding behind the screen as long as he possibly can. We'll have to wait until he pops up out of the screen, but I am sure, Ken Wood, that the visor is missing. It is too. The visor is missing from Matthew Mladen's helmet. How hard has that got to be to ride around here without a visor?
At 275 kilometres an hour down that front straight, that would be no easy task. He'll be trying to get down behind the screen. McCarthy can sense there's a problem with Mladen. He's out giving chase. McCarthy, that factory Honda, it's his last ride before it gets shipped back to Japan. In fact, it's McCarthy's last ride for Honda. He's signed to race in the World Superbike Championship next year with Suzuki. Matthew Mladen, he'll be racing for Suzuki in the US Superbike Championship. There's definitely no visor on that helmet. Both these guys, it's their last race in front of their home crowd in Australia. Their last race on an Australian Superbike circuit on their Australian machines. They'll each be trying to go out with the win. McCarthy having won the championship, Mladen having won 4 of the last 5 races. Unfortunately, a retirement in race 1 earlier today with tyre problems.
Well, there's Ben Archibald making his way further forward, and you can see quite clearly there is no visor on that helmet for Matthew Mladen. Now what he's doing is he's actually slowing up as much as he possibly can. Has a look behind, sees Kirk McCarthy on the charge and trying to grab him. We're 1 corner from running down the straight and towards the flag for the last race of the season. So Matthew Mladen, all he has to do is just keep it all together and try and squint, I suppose, is the best you could hope for. And now he'll stay down behind the fairing as long as he possibly can as he heads for the final race and the win here at Phillip Island. Big run though from Kirk McCarthy. He's put a big ride in towards the end of this race. The big ride surely has come from Matthew Mladen, no visor. Well, Matthew Mladen has come on super strong towards the end of the season. Unfortunately timed a little late because Kirk McCarthy has managed to grab all of the points necessary to take out the 1995 title. Well, as Matthew Mladen reaches for the eye drops and Kirk McCarthy reaches for the champagne, we wish both of these young men the very best of luck as they embark on their overseas careers. Well, let's now have a look at the point score from the 95 Superbike Championship. McCarthy heading the table ahead of Matt Mladen, Sean Giles, Robbie Baird, Martin Craggle and Ben Archibald, the privateer, getting into the top 6. Well, that wraps it up here at Phillip Island for round 6. In fact, the final round of the Shell Oils Australian Road Racing Championship for 1995. We've seen some brilliant action, we've got some great champions, and we look forward to bringing you all of the action for 1996. That wraps up today's show, and on behalf of the Speed Week crew, we thank you for your company, and we look forward to seeing you next week on